Hey, 8th grade. So we're going to talk about our composing angles. I just want to remind you, decompose means that we break a big angle into smaller angles. Compose means when we take small angles and we create a bigger angle from them. So the try question we had today was the goal of a game is to fill a tray with game pieces without any gaps or overlaps. Javon fills his tray with 3 of the same size triangle pieces as shown. What is the measure of the bottom angle of Javon's tray? And so here's our piece shown to us that is 50 degrees. And so then iReady shows us, or our book shows us, that we can picture it, right? We can picture those 3 pieces being fit together, each of them having a 50-degree angle down here, and that it creates this big angle right here. And then we have the model it. So like I could use the protractor, and knowing from the protractor, like here's my 0, I can count here's 50, add another 50 and I get to 100, add another 50 and I get to 150. And so then that can help me do, if I do 3 jumps of 50, I can figure out that I am at 150 degrees for that last angle. So then when we go into the connected piece of it, and we answer these questions. The first question, how many 50-degree angles compose the bottom angle of the tray? Well, we had 3 game pieces, right? So it is 3 50-degree angles. It says, does addition or subtraction best express putting 2 or more angles together to make a larger angle? And the answer to that is addition. It makes more sense to add angles to make the bigger angle. And then number 3, fill in the blanks to write the equation to combine the 50-degree angles to compose the bottom angle. So each of these pieces was 50 degrees, so we're going to put 50, 50, and 50. And then it says the bottom angle of the tray measures, and so if I take 50 plus 50 plus 50, or because it's repeated addition, 50 times 3, which several of you did in class, we end up with 150 degrees. All right, number 4 says, could you compose an angle that measures 150 degrees from 3 angles with unequal angle measures? If so, give an example. And so if you were in class, we gave lots of examples. If you missed it, the answer is yes, we can. And you just need to come up with any 3 angles that add up to 150. So a few examples could be a 100 plus 20 plus 30. You could have a 70, 60, and 20. So there are multiple ways that you can go about that. So these are not the only 2. We're just pointing out that you can create bigger angles and they don't all have to be the same angle. So then moving on to the model it and doing some examples. Or I guess apply it, not model it. All right. So we have a fan. We know Haru's mother has a hand fan from Japan hanging on her wall. Look at the drawing of the fan. The angle between each wooden stick is 12 degrees. There are 11 of these angles that combine to form the open fan. What is the measure of the angle formed by the 2 outer sticks on the open fan? Show your work. So there are multiple ways we can go about this problem. I could say that I need to take 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 until I have 11 12s, right? And that's one way I can work it out. Or we can do the fact that 12 degrees and 11 groups. And as I said in class, the trick with 11s and double digits, split your 2 digits. So 1 and 2 go on the outsides, and then 2 plus 1 is 3. So we end up with 132 degrees. All right, on 7, Kantar makes a paper airplane for his younger brother. The diagram shows the partly folded plane. What is the measure of the angle A? Show your work. So here's angle A. It is composed of two angles. We have angle 135 degrees and an angle of 23 degrees. So we know that we're going to take 135 plus 23. We're going to add those together. So 5 plus 3 is 8, 3 plus 2 is 5, 1 plus nothing is 1, and so we end up with 158 degrees. And that's our work. This is our work shown. If we're like, show your work, that's all it's asking for. All right, number 8. What is the sum of the measures of all the angles that are labeled in the figure? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 angles that we need to add together, and we just need to add them. That is the basic gist of what we are doing. So in class, we started with 120 and 65, and that gives me 5, 8, so 185. I can then add 25 and add 45, or I could do, okay, what's 45 plus 25? We get 0, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I end up with 70 there, and then I can add that to my 185. So 5, 15, 255. Either one will get us to the same answer. Our final answer here is D, 255 degrees. Addition can happen in whatever order as long as we don't add more than we are supposed to add. And then just so that you know, we didn't explicitly talk about it because we were running short in several classes, but the geometry, high school geometry term for what we are working on right now is angle addition postulate. So it's just the fact that we know that if I take two angles and add them together, they create the bigger angle. And that's what we're working with here. Taking two or more angles and using them to add to a bigger angle. And then tomorrow we will continue on with angles, knowing when to add and when to subtract to find a missing angle. So we'll see you tomorrow.